One of the benefits that we have for the Shredlage, we've basically framed out three. And just as an overview, when we developed this process, one of the things we focused on was the fiber. It needed to be long enough so that it provided effective fiber and digestible fiber. But the other thing it had to do is crush the kernel. And what we found is it is a superior way to crush the kernel. When we look at kernel scoring, and we're going to talk about that just a little bit later on as well, because each year may yield a little bit different, but we want it to be 70 to 75 on the kernel score. With that, we also increase the effective fiber. And the effective fiber, when you shake the silage, we get these calls all the time. What should it look like? It should be in that 30 to 30 plus on the top tray when you shake it. You'll see a lot of good particles. It's not just the shaking with the high particle concentration in the top box. One thing to have a high percentage there, the other is it digestible? And so that was the other question that we had is how well is the fiber digesting? And at the university, they did some total tract digestibility studies, and they found that it was indeed an increased digestible form over the conventional. The other thing that we get often asked is what are the goals? And so we put the parameters, since we want it just a tad bit drier to get a deeper starch line. We like to see that moisture between 65 and 67% with a starch layer at about 1/2 of the milk line. And the particle length, again, 26 to 30 millimeter. There are some exceptions to that once the material gets drier, and we'll cover that with some of the recommendations that we've come up with as well. And so once again, the kernel score is 70 or better. All of this can depend a lot upon how the machine is set. The processor needs to have the right settings depending on the plant maturity and the conditions of what that is. So generally speaking, if we are drier than 65, wetter than 65, then we want it to be a little bit longer and the gaps of the rolls can be wider. If it's drier than 65, then we tend to cut it a little bit shorter, and then the gaps are a little bit tighter. Same thing is true with the BMR. We tend to see that we'll run the BMR just a little bit tighter in the roll gap. Not so much the length, but the gap itself.